right. A couple people drumming it. Yeah, it's gonna just give me 1 minute here. I will just start talking about why I'm. Okay, now I can hear myself. Okay. Yeah, I of course have a computer issue because it wouldn't be the Morningscape podcast even on my new computer, but it's because my computer's new that I'm having this issue, of course. I for some reason, well, not for some reason, just this is probably pretty standard. You get a new computer, they give you like this free trial with your antivirus. So that ran out, and I've been trying. I uninstalled it, I deleted it because I was like, I don't use this anyways. Like, I don't need it. And now I'm unable to download anything on my computer on Google Chrome. Like, so I was trying to get the model downloaded. I'm just gonna have to use it on my phone again. I got down to the final, like I need to reinstall Google Chrome entirely, and I just don't have time to do that before we got started. So really not a big deal, just frustrating. So I'm just pulling up a few things while we get started, and I just sent it over to Jay to jump in. So that should be just another minute. I'm gonna just get the 10-day, 5-day or game thing run right now. That's kind of what I'm working on. And yeah, so we're going to be going over puckluck.com, doing some underdog fantasy, promo code MSP. Also, I guess if you are going to do football, 1 week season, promo code MSP. If you don't know about 1 week season, they are really the only thing I use for football other than, proto grinders a little bit. But I'm not a super high stakes football person because if I was, I would be broke. That's not fair. I had a couple pretty good weeks, but I just kind of like their idea of kind of teaching a man to fish is sort of their mentality. I like that more than most sites that are just like, here is, a straight, okay, let me word this better. I'm a model-based guy. I do like looking at models. I like to understand the math behind each play. I like to see projections, high, lows, etc. The problem is if you just rawly use in football the top projected plays in per dollar, etc., you're going to be in a situation where lineups are going to be 200, 300% ownership. If you I mean, have 200, but a cumulative ownership of each player is going to be so high that you're going to be in a very tough situation to actually win a GPP. And that's all I do football for, is because I look at the shiny $1 million prize and say maybe someday. So that's kind of why. So again, 1 week season, they kind of do really, really in-depth game breakdowns, kind of looking at current trends of what teams are giving up. So if you want to do football, I know I make fun of football and basketball and stuff. I totally I get it. I play football too, but I played all growing up, and hockey's a better sport. But we're going to talk about hockey as soon as Jay joins. I'm just pulling up, like I said, the last couple things I wanted to see. We did get some, I guess, optimistic news that it should be Austin Matthews back in the lineup. With that being said, I'm minorly concerned that we are losing Bunting on the top power play. While not confirmed, it was mainly Morgan Riley on that top unit. So it's kind of a nice little, it's a trade-off of you lose Bunting to maybe get Riley in the mix. As far as in GPP is, I'm sure a lot of people are going to like. I kind of have been falling in love with Michael Bunting, as you may have seen, but that's fine. We're still waiting on a little bit more news. I'm sure it should be coming, and within the next hour or so, if teams are practicing or not, and then we'll kind of go from there. I just need to figure out which teams aren't playing today, so I can just, you know what, it's going to be, I'm just going to go through the teams that are playing today and make this more difficult on myself, but trying to course through. And once I get the 10 game thing up, I'll share my screen just so I can kind of start there. The reason I start with 10, like the last 10 games and last 5 games for shooting, is mainly just to get my headspace right on what players are actually shooting. So then when I get into looking at odds, before I am using more of an analytical approach on if the odds are good or not, I just like to think like, okay, if this player is shooting X amount of attempt, let's say over 7, and I don't really care if they're hitting or not hitting as far as over 2.5. Let's just use that as a raw example for shot on goal. If they are hitting pretty frequently, the odds are going to get nuked. I'm caring about the guys that aren't hitting but are shooting, whether that be over 10 games or 5 games. So if it's over 10 games, there could be some outlier games in there that I might need to find to see like what happened in those games of why they shot way more. If it's something where it is the 10 game doesn't really pop, but the 5 game does, and then they're not hitting. It's like, okay, well, now are they in a better role? Is something happening that is leading to them shooting more? And those are the guys I really try to bounce on, because the price is going to change very quickly. Again, that's why I jumped on Barrett Hayton early, is because I see him shooting more. I see him getting more minutes. I see him now in the first power play. His odds don't reflect that at all at first. That's really how I try to approach each slate and start there with kind of my core guys. That doesn't mean that they're going to make every single bet slip, because there's a reason they're not hitting. And what that reason is, it's hard to say, because every single NHL player has the ability and the skill to get the puck on net. I mean, I'm a freaking plug at this point, and I could put a puck on net pretty easily from anywhere on the ice if no one's impeding me. So there are players that are better at producing. I don't really need to get into like, obviously you watch Nikolai Ehlers and you see a guy that just can create offense all on his own because of his skill. I mean, Connor McDavid, a better example of that, I'm sure. But if you don't watch hockey and you're just like, I wonder why, like they kind of fall in love with these certain guys. I mean, normally it is because the ability to get those shots on net exists every single night. It's just, will they actually do it? And then that's kind of what we try to figure out with a lot of the math. It's running through each game as far as what we believe the pace will be, which can get flipped on its head. I mean, if the game stays at a reasonable level of scoring, which most do, I think that we're very accurate with our predictions for pace of games. The Corsi that is going to be produced at a maximum minimum level for each team, how we're projecting it. But if you've watched hockey long enough, you know that a team could score 3 goals on 5 shots to start the game, whether it be because the goaltender is truly atrocious or just really bad bounces. And then that team just doesn't shoot the way they would have before. So it is why doing these monster parlays is super duper difficult. And because variance, is going to be magnified by every game, everything you add into a betting slip, everything you add into a portfolio is going to just add more variance, because we can't control we can project the environment, we can't control the environment. Would you could say that for every single sport, without a doubt. I mean, think about a game today that I think will probably have, I don't know what the furthest odds are, like a Seattle-Chicago game. You may think to yourself, this is a great chance to jump on Seattle, who, should, in theory, produce more shots against Chicago. But I mean, quite frankly, if Seattle stays as efficient as they've been, they're just not going to shoot that much more. That's why I'm kind of looking at Seattle saying I'm projecting them to score more than probably their shot volume. I'm going to look to a point prop there. Again, it's sort of covering you up in case of that scenario, because I don't see a scenario where Seattle isn't going to dominate the possession. It's just, will they produce a large shot volume? If they are reducing a large shot volume and some of those shot props are hitting, I also assume those same players should be producing the points. So that's kind of how I'm going to look at it and cover myself up. So that's just sort of a little piece while I'm pulling everything up here of why I might pick a point versus shot prop. I try to get a full view on the environment. I try to get a full view on the players that are actually producing shots, why maybe there's been a change. I also run through pretty much every single team and how they've changed in a short period of time. And sometimes it's very big. Like I said, Barrett Hayton's the perfect example, where the change in his potential output was magnified by a lot more than the books. Maybe the best way to put it is like the books didn't adjust at all, and his role had changed immensely. So I don't know. Let me check. Is Jay around? I don't see him yet. Oh, he's typing right now to me. But while I'm waiting, let me just share my other screen. What the heck? Choose window. Okay. Okay, so I got the last 10 games for every team. Won't be, is that too small? I don't think I can make it much bigger. Maybe I can. No, that's going to make it bigger on my screen. Yeah, you know what? You can probably figure it out. I don't think I can make it that much bigger on here. So last 10 games, we have Rantanen, McKinnon, Rantanen, Pastrnak, Hughes, Ovi, Krug, but Krug only played 1 game, so I probably X him out. I can filter that out if I want to, but I don't always do it. Okay, yeah, Jason's gonna be a few more minutes. So I'll keep going with this. So yeah, like I said, I like to just get a good view of exactly what's going on. So a few players that kind of stand out to me are Boldly, who I've been kind of jamming to a lot of success as of late. I know his role has kind of changed in the negative since Zuccarello came back. He's lost some minutes for sure, but still keep an eye on him. I mean, 7 attempts over the last 10. So now when if I like that, I'll just pull 5 really quick, and then I'll just type in Boldly and say, okay, well, he was over 7. This is part of yeah, and over 5, still over 7. So it's like, okay, well, even though his role has decreased in at least the last couple games, so let's even pull up 3. So I just like to look. It's like, all right, like, is this player still not getting the volume? And it doesn't seem to be the case. Like, he's still seemingly producing a lot of shot volume. So I'm not going to like X him out while others may think, oh, he's not with, Kaprizov anymore. In theory, you think a skilled player on a line without a dominant rate shooter like Kaprizov, who is second over the last 3, and I think he's going to be closer in the last 5, you kind of lose that guy on your line that produces such good offense, but he does dominate the shot share on his line to, over the last 5, the second best of these 14 teams. Jesus Christ, 28 teams. So I don't think Boldly's out of the way, but that's kind of how I get started here is like, let's take a look. And that's why I was so high on Backlund for a while. The books just did not adjust till last game. And then last game, they absolutely nuked him. So that happens pretty frequently with players that kind of come out of nowhere is, I'm trying to look if there's any like good example. I mean, Domi is probably the best example of this, where this could be a guy to jump on right now, albeit Patrick Kane should be returning to the lineup. But that's a guy that, like, even though he almost has 7 shot attempts per game, his over under has been like 1.5, like 2 basically on every prize pick underdog and big plus money over 2.5. You like to see that in a mix. Again, it's Chicago, so you don't want to add that to a very big portfolio. Why isn't this sharing? Why can't things be easy? Let's try again. I just want the whole window. There it is. So yeah, I pulled up puckluck.com. I know Jay's just restarting and getting back in right now. He was having mic problems. We can at least take a peek at the 2:00 game. Just if you've never used Puckluck before, if you use it every day, you probably know this. But the way we do things is basically we look at our Puckluck line, which is what we believe the game should be priced at based off the odds we're projecting. So people always ask me, I'm sure people that do gambling, and if you're in this, you're probably someone that bets on games pretty frequently. People ask you, what's a lock? What we're saying is that nothing is a lock, even a game that we project to a very high degree of certainty. Like, I'm trying to think. It's probably Seattle is our highest degree of, no, not even. It's actually Washington, I think. So let's just so someone said what's the, again, our highest certainty is that Washington beats the Flyers, and it's only 74%. You have a 4-sided dice, and you say, if it's a 1, then the Flyers win. If it's 2, 3, or 4, the Capitals win. That's clearly not a lock, right? And that's what we try to tell. I try to tell everyone is I don't have any locks for you. Nothing is a lock ever. All we can do is try to say what our model is projecting against what Vegas is offering. And as you can also probably tell from the screen, these numbers are what Vegas should be pricing things at. Because if a team is likely to win at a percentage, the other team should have the exact opposite percentage to make it 100, because there's only one team going to win and one team going to lose. I know you can bet tie, but when you do money lines, there is no tie. One team is going to win and one team's going to lose. The Vegas should be pricing them like this, but they don't, which is called the VIG. I don't need to really break down too much for hopefully a lot of you guys. But the point I'm making here is that we don't include a VIG on our site because, we don't have a VIG. So in this scenario, we're leaning towards the Flames. At plus money, it's a small edge. You get from minus 117 as a projection to plus 100. It's a small edge. Now, if you're going to be betting 14 bets in one slip, that small edge is a ton of variance that I would not be including in a slip. It's not big enough. And also it's really not that safe. I do like it as a straight bet for sure. And I probably will put a little bit on it as a straight bet, but it's not something I'm going to be hammering. Just just so you see what I mean. So basically, we're saying we like it anything better than minus 117. So plus 100 is an edge. So that's kind of how we look at all the money lines. And that's why when people ask me, like, well, why did you bet this team? It's because of things like that. So Boston also another very small edge, almost the same amount of edge. Minus 158, minus 145. It's bettable. With Austin Matthews returning, I wonder if it's been factored in quite enough yet. I'm hoping to wait on this line, and if it gets any better, then I will wait for it to get better. Don't know right now, but that's something that, again, I will be waiting on, and also making sure that Jay factored in Austin Matthews into this. I don't know if he's added him in yet. Like I said, he was having some computer problems, so it might be worth waiting on. But that's really what we're looking at, and I don't see any reason to bet that, like I said, right now. And while I'm doing all these bets and stuff, let me pull this over. This is always pretty much, unless if Matt doesn't post it for whatever reason, it's pretty much always in our Discord, which is a very confusing Excel sheet for people that don't know what they're looking at. But the columns that I focus on the most, we can ignore all this. All the stuff at the end is very DraftKings related, and most of it isn't been updated for today. So just kind of ignore everything past this line. But what we're looking at here is basically over the past 10 games, we're trying to make a matchup portfolio, if you will. I'll put it that way. I don't want to get into too much verbiage because Matt will message me and say that I didn't say it the right way because he would word it differently. But the best way to put this is Corsi Index is basically saying what a team's shot volume in this matchup should look like, a kind of above expected, maybe the best way to put it, or just easy enough. Big blue number is good for a team to shoot more. Red number is a team will not get as many shot attempts. We're going to pull Jay in now. Jay, welcome in.
When did I become the tech problem guy?
I mean, my tech problem paused us for 3 minutes, but my tech problem is like quite legitimately the stupidest thing ever. It's like, give me McAfee automatically. I didn't want McAfee. The thing expires, and now it's like there's no virus protection, so you can't download anything on your computer. But yeah, no, welcome in. I'm just kind of going over a few different like preliminary notes surrounding everything, kind of looking at this as well. So I haven't covered any games yet, but mainly I was going over kind of how I start my process. So you didn't miss anything, but welcome in. Glad I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm glad I can hear you too. I had to restart everything, so that's always fun.
Yeah. So the one thing I was actually going to ask you, did you get that Matthews is probably back?
Yeah. So that's accounted in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can go game by game, unless if there's anything you want to cover off the top, but we could kind of get right into it now that we're
let's get
20
into
minutes behind. I was really hoping to make this like an hour. I'm like, man, I go way too long, but we'll plan for like an hour, 14 games. We'll get through it quickly, and then
we'll
maybe do a couple drafts. So first game up is the Flames and Dallas. I already covered that you have a small edge on the Flames, which I do actually agree with. I don't think we got anything on hints yet. Did we get any? Actually, that's a good thing to check. I didn't see it.
I didn't see anything.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think we have news yet. It again could be worth waiting.
Yeah, it's possible that'll play.
If he is back in and you want to wait that out until, I mean, again, if you're, depends how hardcore of a better you are. If you're like, I don't really care, I'm just going to bet it right now. Because if he is in and we figure that out, 28 minutes before the game locks, you probably can bet Dallas before anything changes on the books. Granted, I don't think it would change my mind an immense amount.
Well, along with that, what you just said about not changing your mind a whole lot, if you wait it out, get the hints news, and then bet Calgary, still showing a little bit of an edge, most likely, right, even with hints in there, then you have better value. So
I don't think the game is included on this. I think Matt separated it because they're not on the DFS slate, which is fine. I don't think it matters all that much. I can tell you what it would tell us. It would tell us that the Flames are not scoring at a even remotely close rate to their expected, and they continue to struggle to find a way to produce goals. And it's just every game. I would say I've bet them a ton or not bet them a ton because I feel like they haven't had anything that's jumped off the page against the Blues. I kind of faded both games thinking that like I just didn't like them. And the first game, it was great. The second game, they won, but the odds were terrible. They finally found some scoring with that first line, in my opinion, the Lindholm line, that had just not existed for like a month. So that's really good to see. Top power play stays the same. I don't expect that to change. Everything looks about right. I don't think we're going to find any changes in this lineup. So personally, again, with props and things, like I mentioned, the one player that's been popping is Backlund. I've been betting it quite a bit, and then all of a sudden I pull up last slate and it was nuked. It's still not fantastic. I think you're really, really taking a bit of variance that you don't need to probably put into a portfolio. So I think I'm just going to be having the Flames money line here and not really worrying about stuff. And again, the reason is that A, he's not on the first power play, Backlund. B, they roll 4 lines essentially, but really 3 lines pretty frequently. And Mangiapane and Coleman are no strangers to shooting. I know it's been hot. I know the rates over the last 5, as I already showed, are pretty high for Backlund. He is over the last 5, 7.6. It's bettable. I don't think it's wrong. I just don't know if I need to at minus 145. Maybe it's just my brain saying you were just getting plus 215, 220, and now it's after like 2 games against the Blues, it's minus 145. Like, is that really who Mikael Backlund is? It's up to you at that point. None of these lines really stand out as great values.
Yeah, nothing for shots on goal, really.
I'm sorry.
The one that jumps out as far as props, point props and goal props for Mangiapane and Dubé are generally a good bargain. It's just because of the position that they're in, really.
I would
that line. So,
man, I'm super 50-50 on it too. It's like part of me thinks Dubé is with players I think are actually better.
Right.
But then the other part of me is like, well, Mangiapane is the guy they want shooting on that power play. Like, if they can get to him to shoot, same odds. I think that's totally fine. Honestly, I don't hate the idea of going Huberdeau or Kadri, just assuming things get right as well. That line has just been very, very underwhelming, just not performing up to expectation at all. And it's because of Lucic. And they just will not put a guy like Ruzicka up there to actually make it a formidable unit. But yeah, I think you could look at a point prop, but in a 5.5 over under, which I don't think we have. Coin flipping on it being 5-6, in my opinion. Right. I don't know if you really want to add all that much variance. I think I would.
These are all single plays if you want to do them. In my mind, any goal or point prop is generally a single play because it's just so much variance that there's just no way you could throw it in a parlay unless you want to get real crazy.
Yeah. Wow. These odds are pretty crazy. Where is Mangiapane? Okay, we don't have to go into this game. This game kind of sucks. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to include it into big portfolios because there's just no bet that is jumping off the page to me.
It is the lone afternoon game, so if you did want afternoon action, there's no other game that starts until 7. So this is unfortunately your game to go off of.
Yeah, and I guess we have to mention it, but if Rupe Hintz is out, it's Sagan, top line.
Yep.
He is. This is the second power. Like the second power play started because they drew the penalty. So he is on the top power play. He kind of jumped over the boards first. I think did he score it too? Yeah, he scored it. But yeah, he'll be on the top power play. So like you.
I think he was my pick for power play point last game.
Okay.
Just a stab at power play point because anyone like that with that much talent, he's going to touch the puck. Obviously,
he's really involved in that power play. At least as of now, without Hintz, he might. I don't even know what it was before, but I remember like watching and being like, "Wow, they want him." They didn't. They only had 2 shots and he scored. I think Dallas is just like I think this game could be really boring, which is the problem. Is like this under almost feels like it's in play, but it's super rail thin. I think it's the Flames. I don't mind the Sagan point. That actually seems pretty nice, but I need confirmation first on Rupe Hintz being out. It could get adjusted. It could get pulled, but I think we're assuming he's out. So I doubt these are going to change. And then, God, every fiber of my being wants to click on like Kadri because I just don't understand why he's not producing, but I don't think we'll move on from here. We don't need to get into this forever. Toronto, Boston. Are you ready?
Yep.
So like I said, it's going to like Boston. It should be Ullmark and net. I don't think we're expecting any changes to Boston. We're expecting Matthews back in, Riley on the top power play, although Bunting did rotate in on that unit. So
it said that they were trying both out. So I think it's kind of 50-50, and they might even go with both today. Both looks.
Yeah, but it's possible they run one. If it doesn't work, the other one jumps in. So it's very tentative there. The first thing that kind of jumped out to me was just these Toronto point props are kind of juicy. I think some of them they have been producing without Matthews. Now Matthews comes back in. Nylander has been, and I know it's against Boston, but I think there'll be goals. I think, you agree there'll be goals.
Oh yeah.
I'm not afraid of Ullmark. I know he's been really good, but that's to me, it's almost like since Ullmark's been so good, the books are just, I think, overvaluing that. Toronto on here, I mean, they're going to get a bit of a downgrade just because of how good Boston is defensively. That's fine. Over the past 10, although that past 10 is also including multiple games without Austin Matthews in the mix. So I looked at a guy like Nylander minus 150, thought that seemed like value. Whether you want to include it or not, it's up to you. I don't think there was anyone on Boston that supremely stood out. I mean, Bergeron always stands out to me, but I just hate getting burned every single night by Bergeron. So we could get back over here as well. And is there anything you want to start on with this game?
Not really. You might be a little bit surprised by the projection. Obviously, Boston's the best team in the league, but Toronto seems low here. And it's, again, we've talked about this before with Toronto, but the puck luck model does not like Matt Murray necessarily. So it looks like he's the confirmed starter for tonight. So it's really a difference between the teams and then the quality of goaltending that we're expecting from Murray going forward. I know he's been decent this year, but he's kind of fell off a little bit as of late. So
I think
that's why they're under 40%.
So looking at the last 5 games, Pastrnak, shocking. I know he's just always there. DeBrusk, we miss you. Come back soon. Like I know I mentioned on the Morning Skate podcast, but Matthews really was trending in the right direction before this injury. It's lower body. You can kind of take it for what you want. If you want to look at shot on goal, they took off every Toronto player once he was announced pretty much back in. I don't think I'm going here myself. I would almost just take the under. Like I've bet this under before, and I know people don't want to see it. They don't want to hear it. And it's the absolute worst thing in the world when he has 5 shots in the first period and you just throw your hands in the air. But I think that that's a pretty egregious line to put, especially against a Toronto team that I think is actually good defensively. This game doesn't, like I said, doesn't project to have the highest pace in the world for either team. So really we're hoping on efficiency, which is why I look to the point props and why I look at a guy like Nylander, who is involved in every capacity. And if you think that Matthews coming back is A, going to improve his odds, you're correct. And B, that maybe Matthews having a small lingering injury could make him even more of a focal point on that first line and on the power play. I think you're also correct. So that's kind of my starting and ending point. I think that's the best line here.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Then we'll have to wait. If there's anything that comes up here, I mean, like I think if you get 3.5 on like an underdog, which I doubt has been posted yet, or Prize Picks, that is justifiable to put in. But other than that, I'm just not going to touch any of these. Don't think you need to do it. Any goal scorers before we move on? I assume the answer is no, but
not really. If you want to take a flyer on Bunting, if you really think that first power play unit is his spot, then it's a good flyer to take. But I'm not big on any goal scorers on either side necessarily.
And then I wanted to, the one thing I did want to mention is Boston did not start this way. They did not start Marchand, Bergeron, Pastrnak last game, but they went to it pretty quickly when they were trailing. So if you do see warm-up lines that had, I believe it was Craig Smith started with Bergeron and Marchand, and it never happened. Yep. It's real risky. You might think, holy crap, you're telling me Craig Smith plus 330 with Bergeron, Marchand, and then that goes to him getting 9 minutes of ice time. So be wary. I just don't think it's worth doing. Like, it's the top 3 guys, and then I really feel poor about everyone else. Top power play did have Taylor Hall on it, so that might be something, but still, I just think it's still pretty thin. I don't think I'm going to go here for a goal scorer prop. They all seem priced accurately. If Matthews is out and you get Engvall back on the top line, even though that, again, this situation here with Boston is kind of similar to what Toronto did, where it's like offensive zone draw, Engvall to the bench. Come on out, everyone else. And then it's like defensive zone draw, Engvall, come on. get on the ice, buddy. You're good to go. So if we look at the last game, I don't even Engvall. No, it was Kerfoot. But even though it was
Engvall, but Kerfoot got rotated in on that.
And then they both saw 13 minutes of ice time. So again, like you might see a juicy line and you might think, holy crap, that seems good. I'm just not going to do it. You're just going to like throw $20 out the window, I feel like. So we can move on from this game. Was there any last thought? Are you betting Boston?
What did I have? I'm opening up the picks here.
Oh, you had him at 158. We did that move?
Yeah. No, I'm staying off it. It's not good enough with that line.
I feel like when I first started, it was like 140. I think it jumped 10 points. Yeah, it was definitely 140. I don't know if anyone was in here. I was positive it was 140. I was like, wait, that got way worse, which is weird because Matthews got announced in. I don't know, whatever. Okay, who cares? I'm not betting it either. Same situation, same reason. I think it's very priced. Where I'm like I said, I'm higher on Toronto than your model for sure. So every time Toronto shows up, I need more than just that. So next game, I'll tell you, when I first looked at this, I thought -210 Carolina against Pittsburgh seems kind of crazy. It probably isn't. I know Carolina's had some struggles in net. It should be Freddie Anderson. I don't know if I guess it must have been.
It is. It's confirmed. Yeah.
It's confirmed. I know he was in the net, so that does help. You got the -166, so I think Pittsburgh seems actually how fine is Pittsburgh though? Barely. Yeah, I don't think I'm touching that. I don't think Pittsburgh's going to get a ton of volume here, so you're going to be betting. Again, this bet, if you place it on Pittsburgh, you're just betting on bad goaltending. I don't bet that way. I think it's okay price, but at this, I mean, what is that as a percentage? 180 is like 30 something. Do you have anyone 180, 40? I'm trying to do the math in my head. Whatever it is. I just think that it's not quite correct. It's like 39. No, 39 is 156. Who cares? Okay. Maybe it's not terrible. I'm trying to do what's the implied odds to +180? That if you could do that math in your head, that would be impressive. I have no idea. I have to
stay off it though.
I'm gonna guess
it's like 32 or something.
32. It's even lower. I thought like 38. Okay. Yeah. Man, 32 almost sounds correct for Pittsburgh though. But okay. Well, what are your preliminary thoughts?
I honestly, Casey DeSmith expects to go for Pittsburgh. I think he's actually a decent goaltender, so I don't expect a whole lot in this game. Game script could change on a dime with these two teams because they're both able to score, but they don't necessarily. Carolina especially doesn't necessarily play that way. So
yeah. Oh, and Pacioretty, I think did they confirm
he's out? Yeah, he's out. So Terry Vinen's on the first line.
Okay. So yeah, we'll get into the props. That's actually, before we get into the props, let's just look because he went out during the game, and of course I had him in one of my slips. I think it still missed anyways, but it was dead very quickly when he went out. He only played 3 minutes, so he only played 3 minutes. Teravainen, Kotkaniemi, Jarvis, Pesce, Aho. Yeah, that kind of sucks. Okay. Let's go back to the props. So I'm thinking if you're going shot on goal, it's probably Svechnikov. I don't think I'm going to look elsewhere myself, especially with the players they have listed. I don't think Burns is incorrect. Let's actually look. That's 5. Yeah, Svechnikov, Burns, gone. Pesce, Jesus, chill out. Yeah. So Svechnikov we know is a great shooter on his whole career, so it's not like I'm that worried there. But
plus, he gets a boost with Pacioretty off that top power play because they tried to feed Pacioretty on that power play since he's been back.
I think this is probably actually good. Let's look because I can't download anything. I got to pull up the freaking model on my phone again. So annoying. I will have this fixed. I'm gonna make sure after this I have it fixed. I spent like 45 minutes. I'm sure this is fine. I'm sure both of these are fine. I don't even think I really need to think that much because if I pull up the 10 game as well, which is here, Carolina projects to have a ton of shots above expected, which is every game though is the problem. It's like, holy crap, is Pittsburgh that bad defensively? It's like no one can Corsi the Corsi Canes. So I think
there's
that
also
those are
still no Lang and no Petrie, so
yeah, and that is a very big problem.
Yep.
They are you're right, and they're bad defensively, correct?
They
So
have
those are
Taylor. Yeah, they have Taylor Fadoon playing for them. So
you really don't like to see that. Like of all the things you could avoid, I just wonder if this actually pops on a different website or not. Because it actually seems pretty useful. I don't think so. No, it's not showing up as like a clear cut amazing value, but it's because it's minus 105, but still I think it's good. So wait, where it doesn't matter. Who cares? Yeah. This is what I'm looking for. Yeah. Nothing else really. I mean, Terravine and Jarvis would be probably where you go if you're gonna go somewhere, but Jarvis, Terravine, and both with Aho on the power play at 5-on-5. So if you're going point prop, it's got to be one of these two. I mean, is there one you like over the other?
For points?
Yeah. Jarvis, Terravine, minus 130, both. It feels.
I don't necessarily like. I have Terravine at minus 138. Jarvis, I have minus 111. So it's a little bit of a.
Yeah, I wonder if we just look at individual expected goals and see if either of them are even. Yeah, they just don't produce a lot on it. Jarvis more than. All right, I will. Yeah, I think as well. Then it's probably the exact same thing in your model that's here. It's like, it's not a. Oh, I'm not showing my screen. I guess. You can't see.
I can see it.
No, yeah, you're not seeing. Hold on, let me. Why is it? It won't. It should be flipping because I have it on window. Okay, Jarvis 0.34 over the past 10 individual expected goals per game, and then Terravine in 0.17. But Jarvis has been with Aho more in that last 10. So that might be factoring in. I'm guessing that's what's factoring into your odds as well. It's just like who is actually pushing the offense more while on the ice. And it's like very slightly. Jarvis actually over the last 5 has been even better for Hagee showing up because CAR, but yeah, I think Jarvis is probably fine. But I think Svechnikov and Burns are even better. I think Svechnikov is probably the best bet here. So you know what? Why not we'll just do that for now. And okay, anything else in this game? What about saves? If we get something good for DeSmith, do you have?
It's possible.
Yeah, I think saves could be in play too.
Carolina does shoot a lot. They do shoot a lot. What do I have? DeSmith at 33. Over 33, 33.32.
I'm going to see if this works. Hold on. Yes. Okay. Now I finally got it. So it'll let me go tab to tab with different things. Okay. Yes. That's what I wanted. Yeah. I think anything like 29.5 or lower for DeSmith, I would take. Because I agree with this. I think this is almost low. This is like assuming I think that they score like 4 goals. It'll be around here. I think if DeSmith actually plays well, he could see 40 shots.
And then on the other end, if you want to go under on Anderson saves, is possible too.
Yeah. Right. And again, to me, though, taking a minus 120 there, it's totally script dependent.
Yeah.
It's like if Carolina jumps out to that early lead, you're just going to throw your phone against the wall because Pittsburgh will just try anything. As far as Pittsburgh shot props, I know they're priced okay, but to me, it's like you have these 5 guys. We'll include Crosby. Why not? One of them probably is going to hit. I really could not tell you with a high degree of certainty which one of these guys is going to hit. I could say that I don't trust Rust to hit because Rust isn't on the top power play. But for Pittsburgh, there's not one guy that I think is like I know it's going to tell me it's Gensel over the past 5 is like, oh, that's the guy that's probably more likely to hit if anyone. But I mean, he's the one that's shooting the most, 7.8 attempts over the last 5. I just still don't think I bet it. Like minus 140 is just not enough against Carolina. When we're saying they're going to get 24, 25 shots on goal, that he is the one that has 3. It feels like they're adding a ton of variance to portfolio for no reason. So with that being said, we can move on to the next game. I'm going to keep Svechnikov in the mix here. And then we'll make a decision on this. I might exclude it from the main slip, anything from the first game. But we're only 3 games in, and it's 12:40, so not a hot start. Are you ready for the next game?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Ottawa against Colorado. I think I'm ready to start to say that Colorado is an elite team again. I'm coming up on it. I don't want to. And the thing is well, as I'm saying that, they lost to Chicago last game, and I know that.
Yeah.
But I think I'm ready to buy on them before the books catch up to them actually being good. I'm willing to forgive the sin. I'm okay with it. I can forgive this sin. This was a bad game. I know they can turn it on. I know it. It's going to happen. They did. Did you watch the Florida game at all? They were abysmal.
I did.
And then in the third period, they were just like, let's be good. Mm-hmm. It's there. It's bubbling under the surface. They're going to go on a run, and we're going to look back at minus 155, and I think we're going to kick ourselves that we didn't bet it. I'm not saying you have to do it because I totally understand. They just lost to Chicago, but that's cooked into this price. And I don't think that they're that team. I don't think the math says they're that team. I don't think you say, nope, you definitely don't. Buckluck doesn't think they're that team.
Nope.
Nothing is really leading me to Ottawa being all that good. I know this is kind of like Colorado. This is just saying that the problem with Colorado is they have absolutely no depth. So half of their lineup is not producing much of an expected goals capacity or much Corsi. So I think this is kind of being low on them in theory. They're still expected to win by 10 games by a slight margin, but I think this is much more accurate. I think if you're anything minus 200 or better, I would be betting. And it's minus 155 at home against Ottawa. I'm in.
And this is where we should have like a drop for like puck luck pick of the day, because Colorado's almost certainly going to be it. It's not locked in yet because obviously we need announcements about the lineup just to confirm. But as long as Gorgiev goes and Cam Talbot's in net for Ottawa, which we expect,
they activated Frankie too. I mean, just saying like it's not going to be a total duster. So I'm just saying like either way, to me, I don't really care if it's.
Yeah, I would. With Franco or Gorgiev, it doesn't matter to me. It's more about the other end with Talbot because he's the worst of the two between him and Forsberg. But it would still be
either are that good. Like, I think
either one.
Yeah, Forsberg feels more like, I don't know if like glass cannon's the right term, where it's like he might dominate, but man, there's some games where it's just like, what the hell happened to this guy? Colorado, I don't even think it's really going to be much of a. Like there are other bets in this game, I'm sure, that are good. And the reason being, let's go back to that game against Chicago. 25 minutes, 24 minutes, 23 minutes. I already showed you that McKinnon and Rantanen are the highest shot producers for the team for the entire 14-game slate. Erod's also been dominant. I was jamming his shot prop last time. Minus 170 doesn't make it move too much, but it's still. I mean, he had 25 freaking minutes last game. Top power play with McKinnon. Like I said, the reason I bet him to score was because McKinnon can turn into one of the best passers in the league if he wants to. And I think that they were going to try to start to – they needed other guys to shoot and score. So I do still like Erod a lot. But I think you could just – if you really like Erod, minus 170 now. Hold on. That's like really none of these are good anymore. He was like minus 125 or something like 2 games ago.
Who started on that line last game? Do you know? Was it Erod or was it Rantanen?
It was Erod, and Rantanen just went up at times. But I mean, the thing is like they're all on the like. I don't even think like Hockey Viz is showing this correctly because we just didn't see these 3 guys. Like I swear, Kaut, Helm, and Myers don't exist. Like I don't even think. I think these are lies. Like they don't play these guys.
Well, we've seen this with Colorado where they'll just rely on their stars. They'll put them out there for heavy minutes, especially in a game like this where they were down. They're just going to keep rolling those top 2 lines. But
yeah, and top 3 defensemen. It's just such an unbelievable situation of. I think this is a really good get right spot. I think minus 155 is the best bet as far as like a player point. Like I said, these points got nuked. I get taking Erod for shots or a point. That's probably fine. But if you're saying Erod's going to be doing really well, why not just take the minus 155 on Colorado to win the game? It just doesn't really do it much for me. I'm fine with Rantanen on shots as well. I think that's probably better. As I showed, and I will show again. Let's take Pitt out of this mix. Over the past 5 games, whatever loads. Rantanen 9.2. I know McKinnon 11.4, but where is McKinnon at this point? Yeah, minus 145. I mean, that is just, you just can't bet that. I mean,
Right.
Grow up. Like, I'm not touching that ever. And again, like, you look at his game logs, he hits that like 4 of 8 times, or like it's like 50 again. Like, I feel like it's like a 50-50 bet, and they priced it like it's way more likely to hit, like I said. So no, thank you. Puck line. What's the puck line? Yeah.
Puck line's the play of the day.
Yeah.
It was at plus 140. It was a play, so now it's up on DraftKings to plus 145.
Are we afraid of Ottawa at all? It's probably the final question we have to ask.
No, they'll shoot. We know they'll shoot.
That was kind of where I was going to lead this to. It's like, do we take a look at that save projection for goalie X? That's probably good. I
have them about even. I think 31 for Talbot, 30 for Georgiev.
Holy crap! Yeah, because I don't think that they're going to give you. I think they're going to have it lower than 30 for sure. I don't know though. You never know with these sports books. Sometimes they'll surprise you. Shot on goal for the other side. Oh man, I'm going to guess Batherson and Shabbat are fine. I love to bring Kit, but I mean, we're not adding that to like a big portfolio of bets.
With Drew playing with Batherson on that second line instead of DeBrincat, Batherson should be the shooter more on that line. So
I mean, that's
kind of like that.
There's a lot of mouths to feed on Ottawa. I mean, like we're saying, a lot of them are eating. Like all the 5 boys are eating, but it's like, again, none of these prices are exponentially. Like I said, I think it's Batherson. Just in every capacity.
I don't know what your stuff says on Batherson, but he's a darling of the puck luck model. So anything because he points, shots on goal.
He shoots on the power play. He's taking over Josh Norris for the So it definitely. I think it's Batherson too. He's shooting more. If anyone, Batherson. Yeah. Again, I don't think like if you told me like, okay, what player is more likely to get 3 shots, Brady or Batherson? It's probably Brady, but it's probably by much less than you think. And the fact that it's a full shot more for Brady, no thanks. So yeah, I think it's Batherson, Rantanen. I could be convinced on most of these guys. I know our model absolutely adores JT Compher's under. It's just like that is such a good bet. The only reason you don't play it is because of the minutes. He doesn't want to shoot. They want Rantanen to shoot. And again, it's like if you don't want to play that variance game because Colorado's trailing or whatever, and he's on the ice a lot, then just take Rantanen shot prop. Because if Compher's hitting his shot prop, I bet Rantanen is too because they're just firing everything.
Exactly.
Rantanen is a very bad rates shooter on his entire career, but right now there's just no one else. This 4.2 is probably a career high. If we look at let's just pull up the full season. I'm interested because I know he's a guy that's kind of coming. Like people are like, well, this guy's. I mean, what's up with JT Compher? Yeah. He's normally around 3, which is being very high boosted right now because of the recent play. This is not a good rate shooter. I think the under is a good bet, but I'm almost wondering if we could, we wait until one guy comes back in this lineup into the top 6, and that's when we start nuking this as soon as he's going to drop out of that premium role. Might not be the play tonight. So we spent way more time than probably we needed to on this game, but I think it's an important one to cover. Let's get over to ones that suck. Columbus at Detroit. My interest level is incredibly low.
This could be fun. I don't know what you're
talking about. It could be fun. It could be fun, but okay.
Detroit's been lighting teams up. And then you have
but look at the odds.
Blue Jackets who get lit up.
Minus 230?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think I don't know. Again, I can't bet. I know like puck luck's even like, you could probably bet Columbus here. I can't do it. I'm not touching this game. If anything, the over. And it's thin. I think that let me actually pull up the 10 game. Not there. Where is it? Are either of these teams where Detroit? That doesn't even make any sense. Yeah, I don't like this game. It doesn't like the pace. Well, it just doesn't think that Columbus is going to produce a lot of pace is really the problem. It thinks that they're probably going to, no, wrong screen. Where is everything? There it is. Yeah. I think you're focusing on Detroit here. And I think instead of taking a very, very, very bad line, you're just going to look at Lucas Raymond for a point, Bertuzzi for a point. Like one of these is just much, much better. Like you said,
should mention Raymond's on that top power play unit now.
Yes. That was why we bet him last time to score as a part of my 4-leg $1,100 hit. And he scored on the 5-on-5. Either way, I didn't mind it. It is funny how two of my guys were first goal scorers, and then one was a last goal scorer, which was fine though. But yeah, he's going to move up for Perron. What Bertuzzi as well. So, but like I think you could bet both of these. And I think if you're honestly, if I have a book that offers both of them together, that is actually probably really sharp. Is it Caesars? Is BetGM? I don't even know. It might be Caesars. I might put that in because that seems like where you're going to want to go on this. As far as other lines are concerned, I do love Fabry. There it is as well.
He's also top power play.
Exactly. He's also top. He offered. He's not. He is offered. I don't know. I mean, again, if you're straight betting, that's fine.
Yeah. Right.
If you're trying to include it in a portfolio, it's like what is that 30 points? Like if you want, just like get your portfolio together, come back to Detroit, take one of these guys out, whatever one you want more or less, and then put it and like see the difference in what your output is. It's probably going to be a decent bit, but not by probably as much as the variance would indicate. So I would stick with one of these two. Like I said, I'm going to try to pair them together. I don't think you need to include Larkin, but you can. I know Larkin's very involved and he's a good player and he assisted on both goals. I'm actually pretty sure Bertuzzi got a point on one of them too, but it doesn't always show up on here. Both of these are fine. I think I slightly prefer Raymond though.
And then another lineup note, Hronik's a game time decision. Coach said today that he expects him to be in, but we just don't know. And obviously it's a toss up on who's on that top power play then, because Hronik's been there, but Seider was there.
Seider was obviously last game though.
Yes. Yeah, Seider was last game.
He's not listed though because
and neither is listed. Yeah, neither's listed on DraftKings, so that won't matter. But more for just if you're filling out DFS or anything later.
Where's Raymond? Okay, all right, that's fair enough.
And they haven't been shy about switching to Hronik just in the middle of the game too, if the power play's been ineffective. So
I'm just trying to find what the odds are if you bet those two guys together, and of course Caesars is like, you never use me, I got to update because it's a terrible book, it's not fun to use. No offense, but actually, you know what, if you're listening, Caesars, make your sportsbook more fun to use. It just isn't enjoyable experience.
Exactly.
Fix the interface. Ready for Vancouver? Is there anything on the Columbus side, or do we just take Columbus collectively and we move on?
Absolutely nothing. I don't like anything on that side.
That is optimal. They are getting Jenner back. That probably makes them slightly better. Let's just move on though. If you're down to betting on Columbus, you should just withdraw your money and move on to something else in life.
Especially on a 14 game slate. Yeah.
Yeah. It's time to pull the plug. Vancouver, Florida. Now this Florida team, really, really just frustrating would probably be the right word. I don't even know if I want to say bad. That last game just needed Reinhart to score. He does it. I can't complain. But I know Matt Moody was about a Florida goal away if the right guy scored from winning a ticket to the World Championship. I don't understand how this team isn't producing more offensively. Again, the expected goals were there. You could say they got goalied a little bit. I don't know if I'm ready to say this team is much better than maybe the books indicate, because this minus 205 is really not what I was hoping for. I was hoping for better. It's kind of what you have though. So
yeah,
I think it's again, I think there's probably a better bet in this game than the money line, than the puck line. Over under, I think it's going to get hammered on. And I think we kind of agree with it.
Yeah, over is going to get hammered, but right now I think it's minus 135 or something, over 6.5 at DraftKings. So you just don't have value to hammer the over.
Okay, hold on. Why won't let me do this? Whatever, I'll figure this out. That's like I said, the interface freaking blows and it won't let me do it. Yep, it won't let me parlay it. Same game parlay, Bertuzzi, Raymond. Oh, maybe it's because I'm not logged in. Whatever. Let's get back to this. I just want to find the odds and post it so people can win money with me. That's all I want in this world. Go to player props. They did run practice lines today. Did they change anything? I don't think they changed anything though. What do we have here? Florida. Am I blind? Okay. Oh, really good. Okay. Yeah. We like to see that. Let's go to my. I just want to find the practice lines quick.
What, the practice lines for Florida?
Yeah, I retweeted them. I know I retweeted.
They didn't change anything. It's the same exact lineup. Yeah, same lineup.
Okay, perfect.
Other than Casey Fitzgerald. Casey Fitzgerald's in for
that's it. Yeah. An improvement that I didn't ever expect to see. Like if you would have told me that Florida trailing Buffalo in the standings would claim Casey Fitzgerald, I would have called you absolutely freaking insane. Okay, back on track here. So what happened again? That's actually crazy. Back-to-back games, Florida scores on the power play, both of them with Bennett on the ice and not Ekblad. I'm not sure if you noticed that because me and Matt were talking about that Florida only had one opportunity on the power play in their previous game against Colorado, and they scored with Bennett on the ice. Maybe they should just take
take
twice.
Ekblad off.
It was twice. Three straight power play. Why aren't they changing this? Also, someone said that Fabry wasn't power play one, so we might want to check that in practice. I think you just stick with Raymond. But they did stuff that they took off. They took off whatever. Well, we'll double check that.
Yesterday I saw the tweet from the power play practice and it was Fabry. So
okay, well,
Wookie could be right. I mean, he's right a lot. So
he's definitely more right than I am. Also, yeah, like I said, it will not let me. It's saying it's not eligible on Caesars. Does anyone know where? Someone send me the right book that I need to go to.
Why are you frustrating yourself with Caesars?
You're right. I'm literally. I just think that's a good bet. I think it's gonna give me good odds that I want to bet. Let's focus on a better bet though. His name is probably Samson Reinhart again. For a point. Yeah. Let's not be silly here. That's the clear cut one. Not even really much of a question. I honestly don't hate his shot prop. I know that they brought it. I think he hit last game though. Did he hit last game? I mean, he scored, so I kind of stopped tracking if he was shooting at that point once the puck went in the net. I think it was his second shot. So let's pull it up. Let's see what our favorite guy. Yeah, he had 3 shots. What a beaut. Man, Lindell is shooting. Chill out, man. You don't need to.
Well, when they're both on the top line, it's
Lindell.
You won't have a Lindell prop in there though.
No. Florida spreads the wealth pretty frequently. Let's actually just pull up Florida over the past 5. That should give us. They've mainly had the same lines. Maybe a couple slight changes.
Yeah, they changed it a lot actually.
It's just not necessary. Just Reinhart for a point. That's probably the best bet in this entire game, especially if you like this over. Like if you're,
I have it at -207 for Reinhart point.
Yeah. So you take Reinhart for a point. You probably just move on. If you're betting the over here, I think you're just take a goal scorer. Like it's such a concentrated offense for both teams. You think there's going to be 7 goals and like you can't pick out one of these guys to get one. I don't know. Like just to me it seems a little bit like betting this over. Just like if you see people betting this over, like hammering it -135, it just doesn't feel like the best bet on the board in this game at all. Like, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I just don't like betting these hammered on overs. They frustrate me. So I think if I'm betting anything in this game, it's Reinhart for a point. I don't hate Lindell for a goal, although he's not in the top power play. Right. 1, 2, 3. Who was the? Oh, it's both defensemen. Damn it! Why are they stupid? Montour? No. Okay, let's take a peek at Vancouver because again, I don't personally that. My problem with this over is that Vancouver could just get absolutely smacked. If Florida is kind of on the rise, like I hope they are, I'm worried about Vancouver producing offense. They did, I think 3 expected goals against Tampa isn't atrocious, but I really don't think that they're going to continue to produce at that rate. They are very concentrated. Pedersen is a focal point of this team. The power play has been a bit tentative as far as who's on the first unit. We've seen Kuzmenko take Besser out frequently.
Yep.
I think you're kind of sticking with the main 3, Pedersen, Horvat, Miller. And if that's the case, I don't mind taking a shot prop here. I just don't personally think that Pedersen over 3.5 at plus 105 is better than Reinhardt at minus 165. Like I think that's a worse bet expected value wise. So I don't think I'm touching it myself. Bo Horvat, at some point, I think that well is going to break again. It's just I don't know if I want to bet it against Florida when I truly think they're the much better team. His rates have come crashing down to earth over the past 5. Over the past 10, I'm guessing it's somewhat about the same. I'm on the full season right now, so his rates have not been very good. I was like, why is Evander Kane there? Did I miss something? I don't think Bo Horvat's really where we're going to be wanting to go here. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm touching any of these shot props.
Yeah, I don't.
Any thoughts on Pettersson? Any thoughts on Pettersson, though? Are you a believer in this Pettersson thinking
2.8 shots on goal? I haven't projected for. I don't necessarily love it.
Yeah. I wonder, can you get him for – if you can get him for 3 on underdog, I think that's pretty safe.
There should be goals in this game, so if you want to try something with Pettersson and a goal prop, maybe. But
yeah, 3 on underdog is definitely going to be. It is 3. Like comparing his odds at 3.5 at plus. So I think should start building that underdog with. I'm going to include the Pettersson at 3 because the push is probably going to add. I could pull up the exact math on that if we want. You know what? I'll try to do that on the side. Let's move on to the next game. I'm gonna let you get started. I feel like I'm hogging the mic too much. So you let me know. Do you want me to pull up the puck luck for this game for Montreal, New York, or do you want me to pull up the to keep the books up?
Pull up puck luck. We got Sam Montembeault and Sorokin likely in that. So heavy on the Islanders, obviously. That's kind of a no-brainer when you look at it, but there's just no value when it comes to looking at the books then. Minus 243. We have the Islanders at what do the books list them at?
Books for who?
Right now for this game.
Minus 245.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're spot on with the same projection, basically. I mean, you know who the Islanders are at this point. You know who the Canadians are. Maybe the over I'd be looking at, but I have it projected for over 6 goals, and it's listed at 5.5. So Montembeault should be letting in goals, but the difference is, will the Canadians get you there? Meaning, will Cole Caulfield score too? Because that's basically how they get there.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to open this.
Sharing your
Keep
Twitter.
those to the side. Keep going. No, yeah, I'm sharing everything right now. But okay, I listened to 0 of the things you said. But let's get back here. Cole Caulfield, right? That was the last word you said.
Yeah. Well, I said it. That's the only way that the over hits is if Cole Caulfield scores, because he's the only one that scores for Montreal. It seems like so.
Correct. Wow, minus 120 on a Cole Caulfield point. That actually doesn't sound terrible. Wow, they really just do not think they're going to score.
Yeah,
Holy
no,
props.
and I mean Sorokin's been lights out, so it's tough to trust them to get there. You really need.
Sucks, huh?
The Islanders did throw their lines in a blender, so we should mention that. Brock Nelson.
Well, that's every game.
Not necessarily. I mean, they kind of keep it somewhat the same, but this time Nelson's on that first line with who is it? Holmstrom and Lee, and then Barzal centering Parise and
Cizikas. I'm almost positive, but I have it somewhere in
Bailey,
here.
I think.
I know I have it. Where is it? Islanders. How many retweets do I make a day? I gotta be just a nauseating follow if you don't care about hockey. There's no way not every person isn't mute me. Parise, Barzal, and Bailey. You're right. I thought, why did I think of Cizikas? Okay. Yeah. I mean, and again, like I think there should be shots from the Islanders here. I think the 10 game agrees with that. If I can find it within all my tabs. Yeah, the Islanders should be shooting. They should be scoring. So if we think the Islanders are going to be shooting and potentially even scoring goals, I don't know why we're even looking at the Canadians. Like, so wait,
yeah,
can this go away?
Well, because the Caulfield point is a good value. I mean, I have them at minus 150, and if it's minus 120, I mean it's a good value.
I'm not saying it's it definitely is a good value, but
then you look at the other end and it's
odds, like.
But they have a top 9 that's basically pick your poison. Like it could be any of them.
Yeah.
You know, it's
That's
not
point.
condensed. That's the problem. I like to bet condensed the guys that you know are going to be the shooters, you know are going to be the ones who are involved in driving the offense, and it's different. Every game for them.
Lee feels like, why is he priced so weird? Nelson for shots maybe too. I don't hate. So we'll make a decision. Let's make it a decision at the end.
What do you have? Lee's minus 130. I have a minus 160 for a point.
Yeah, Lee is the guy, I think, and then Nelson for shots, I'm sure is fine. It's not something I'm like gonna go to the bank on, especially because he really just has 1 or 2 games in that mix. That again, he's kind of a boom bust pick. I don't love that. Well, there's no one on the Islanders right now. I think it's still Dobson. Yeah, it's still Dobson leading the way, but no one's done like. And you're saying because they roll 4 lines. Their coach is still boring as hell, even though they got a new one. Doesn't really matter. Let's just keep Lee and Caulfield for a point because I don't know how much volume there really be in this game, especially for the Canadians. I don't expect them to get an exorbitant amount of shots. It would be Caulfield, but this 3.5 is just a little bit too pricey for me when I assume his point prop is better. Let's keep it. Let's keep it there. Now, this is what I was going to pull up for Pettersson really quickly. If Vegas is pricing him at 105 over 3.5. That means they're implying his lambda to be this. And if we go over to underdog, where he's at 3, we type in minus 122. What does that give us for an edge? That gives us 0.8, so 8% edge. I like that. So if you can't really see this because it's not big enough, I can zoom in to help you. So what we're looking at for Pettersson, the point I was going to make is that he's about 50% likely to get over 3 and that 22% push. So it's kind of up to you at that point. Like if you don't mind adding, like a push into your portfolio potentially, you're looking at somewhat near the 71% likely to at least have 3. So this is something that I use. But again, this isn't projection based. So this lambda I'm using or projection is just what Vegas told me that they're projecting. So I'm just taking what Vegas's numbers are. And that's a lot of times what I do for these underdog slips is I'd like to see a positive EV for each of them. This is saying that we're adding at least equity into our underdog or prize picks, but the same thing for each of them. And then I'm not going to add a ton of 50% hits because of the 3 with the push. You see what I mean? But I don't mind adding this. So where Pettersson is priced, just wanted to get into why I'm looking at underdog rather than the books, where the books are saying that we're getting, let me pull that back up. Oh, no, minus 105 over. The book is saying we're getting 0 EV if this is our projection. So this is like, we're saying that it's exactly what they tell us it is, right? That's up to you at that point. So if you think he's more likely to hit or not, it's up to you. I don't think, like you said, we only have him at really like a 2.9 or whatever. So it's a negative bet. Okay. Just wanted to kind of go over that quickly. I thought we had a really good example there to pull up with him. Any thoughts on that?
I don't have anything to add on that. It's obviously when you are shopping around and you're looking on sites like Underdog, that's useful to know. Generally, you will get a little better value on sites like that. So
my Underdog portfolio is dropped as I drafted a million teams yesterday for football that I'm going to win 200,000 on. But I'll get the slip going in the background as I'll pull it over here actually, so we're not distracted by it. But yeah, this is just something that I check things with. And then Matt also made if it ever pulls up this thing, just while we're looking at things. And this is, I can share with anyone, but it's betting map overs. So it's showing the sports book at 2.5 and then so let's say it's a 2.5 plus anything that's better than plus 139. So if it's plus 110 and they have it at 2, you're getting a little bit of expected value. Again, you're adding that expected value normally comes in the way of a push. So the closer you get to that, the better the line, the better chance obviously of hitting. And then that's just a very easy way if you don't have a projection model to just use Vegas as your projection model because they're pretty freaking good. Does that make sense? And then you could also use puckluck.com because you're subscribed and you pay for it, and then they'll also give you a projection.
Exactly.
Okay, just wanted to go over that while we were finishing up. So let's keep these in there and move on to the Flyers Capitals. Flyers have been winning hockey games. They shouldn't be winning hockey games. Minus 225 isn't great, but I also think it's fine. I don't mind taking the puck line here because I still think the Flyers are bad. I know we just saw this game, and the Flyers actually beat them pretty good. Not only did they beat them on the scoreboard by 3, I believe was the final. They beat them like 5-2. They actually just looked the part, I thought, as well. And the math. Like that was a game I had on because I was like, is there any chance Milano's going to get a point here late? Konechny continues to be just an amazingly good hockey player. Doesn't seem to get the recognition. The fact that they actually are sending Hayes to the All-Star game over Konechny, like
they went off points. That's it. They just went off points.
So they're wrong.
Their coach doesn't even agree. He buried him on the third line at left wing. Like he doesn't agree with Hayes being their best player at all.
It makes me very, very frustrated. With everything we're saying right now, I'm also going to just go back to Underdog myself and take a look here. 2.5 shots for Konechny. I do like that. Minus 135 is about what we want based off the mapping that we just talked about. I'm not going to pull it back up. No need.
I got 2.9 projected, so definitely looking over on that one.
I do like that. The Capitals did make a small change to their lines. They're going with Ovi, Shiri, Kuznetsov.
Yep.
Yes. I'm not betting Ovi, and if I'm not betting Ovi for shots, I'm not betting anyone for shots.
Essentially.
They just don't really like Oshie's the only other guy I've put in a portfolio at all. He's the only other guy that's kind of shooting. Doesn't seem like you need to do it here. I probably wouldn't. I do think that the second line of Oshie, Backstrom, and now Milano? Wait, then who's Wilson with? Wilson's with Strome and
Strome is a scratch today, so Eller and Marcus Johansson. No, I'm sorry, Dowd and Marcus Johansson.
Ugly. Never mind.
Yeah,
the point I'm making is
there's just no reason.
If you believe Washington's going to dominate or whatever, and you want to take Shiri, you probably can, although he isn't going to. Oh, wait, actually, do we know top power play? Shiri didn't see either. He's not going to get bounced in.
No.
All right. No, screw Shiri. Screw everything in this game. Konechny for shots. What are we even doing? And you can bet the Capitals puck line, and you can bet Konechny for shots. Everything else sucks. It's just not even worth talking about. Like, if you're going to play Russian roulette with either of these teams as far as who's going to produce offense, more power to you. I get Gustafsson might be someone to take a peek at. He actually
I was going to bring him up. Problem is he's been too hot lately that he's been overpriced because of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Anything. Yeah. No, you know what? I don't even need to pull up. I can pull it up if you know what? I'll pull it up because I'm about to talk about it. You look at these Flyers lines and you just get angry. At least I do. It's like, why have Cates and Farabee with Konechny and not Frost and Farabee? Like, why add this?
Cates is one of their better expected goal differential guys, so it actually works.
Yeah, but just put Frost there. Make me happy.
Yeah.
I just want it to be that way. I don't know why. Okay, it doesn't matter. It just
they spread they're spreading the wealth. Care what you want.
Yeah. So screw it. Konechny. There's no other need to get into anything else. Let's move on. I was hoping to be done by like 1:15, and we are just not. We have like where are we at? We are Kraken, Chicago. Boy. Ugh. What are we looking at? 260. Yeah. This does feel like a game where you take a team total. What's Kraken over 3.5?
Yeah, you could go team total or you could go puck line on the Kraken here. It's definitely a game for that. Mrazek's in net. We know that.
I feel like Matty Beniers has not been priced too crazy yet either, though. I mean, that guy's taking flight, I think.
We're starting to see that, right? His line is becoming a little bit more of the focal point. Like lately, it's well, in the whole season, it's been like, oh, they're kind of balanced in their top 3 lines, and they have a fourth line that can produce in limited minutes. But lately, we're starting to see Beniers, Eberle, and Burakovsky be their main offensive driver. Tolvanen's been scoring on limited chances, but
to me, it's that power play, and I think they're starting to like that power play more because of Dylan Sprong, really. But who's feeding Dylan Sprong in that power play? It's Beniers. Like, who's the puck mover on that line, that power play?
Beniers and Burakovsky are touching it the most.
Exactly. So I think Beniers for a point is just far and away the best bet in this game. We are expecting Patrick Kane to play, which I would not have said earlier in the morning. I listened to 32 Thoughts. They're like, Patrick Kane might just not play again. And the next game he's back. So I don't know what's going on there, man. But
they sent Reichel down. I thought they might keep him up because he
was doing too well.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
You can't do that well when you're at Chicago. You need to be bad. So
they did say in the beginning of the year, once he's up for good. But obviously, this was an emergency situation with Kane.
You can't score that many goals. You can't win 2 games in a row in Chicago. You're going to lose your chance at getting, obviously a top 3 pick. But really, it's Bedard and then a couple guys that might be really good. Beniers for a point. I don't think you need to even overthink this too hard. I know what you might be saying. It's like, well, why do you lose minutes? You're like, Bjorkstrand got a ton of time, but really it's when they're winning a game, Gord is the guy they want out there. And in that matchup against Boston, I guarantee they tried their absolute darndest to put Gord out there against Beniers. Actually, no, Beniers Wenberg. Interesting. So never mind. I thought they'd want Gord on Bergeron, but I am wrong. They wanted him on Coyle, Hall, and Frederick. Cool. Doesn't really matter. There's no one at Chicago, I'm afraid of. So Matt Beniers, give me that.
Can we write down the goal scorers on DraftKings right now?
Oh, I'd love to.
Because obviously McCann's got the best odds to score. We agree with that at puck luck. But what is he listed? Plus 150 and plus 111. Not a ton of edge. There is edge though.
He's
but then you keep scrolling down and you see Daniel Sprong that low at plus 380, and it's like, okay, I have him listed at plus 152. He plays limited minutes, he's shooting, and he's on that top power play. So it really the only detriment is the minutes, but the model accounts for his minutes, so his projected minutes.
Yeah.
And third most likely to score on that team.
The Sprong song is what you're saying.
The problem is they do like he's been consistently in the lineup lately, but they do like to rotate those fourth line players because they really have 4 of them that are kind of equals. So
the books just don't seem to love Daniel Sprong like everyone else. Okay, you can bet that.
And I don't get it. If you want to take a flyer on a goal that would pay nicely, plus 380 is a nice payoff for Sprong.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's facing a team that just gives up a ton. Defensively, they're terrible. So.
And I think if you're taking Tolvanen, you might be better served to take Bjorkstrand at like the same odds, actually better odds. Just
is it better?
I know Tolvanen's 225 for Bjorkstrand. I like that a lot. I know.
Yeah, way better on Bjorkstrand.
Yeah, and I know Tolvanen's been scoring. I get it, but I mean, it's Oliver freaking Bjorkstrand. Okay.
Yeah, but that's exactly the play you fade, right? That's the one where the betting public sees that he's hot and they bet it, and that's why it's so high. But that's where the sports books win on you. You guys stay ahead of the curve.
We got a lot of games left. Let's power through these quickly. We're losing people, I'm sure, at this point. I wanted to be out of here by now. I was like, we could go quicker, but so what I mentioned on this game before we even got started is that Matt Boldley is continuing to shoot even though he's not on that top line anymore. I don't think it's against Arizona, who I think every time I talk about Arizona, I'm like, this team is slightly better than you think. They're slightly better than you think. Minnesota's better than by a good margin. I know Boldley, the minutes aren't at 5-on-5, maybe what you are you want to see all the time. But in a game where they're leading, I don't think they're going to diminish him too much. I think his shot prop is probably the best bet here.
When Boldley's on the ice, he's the one with the puck on a stick. Like if you watch them, he's just all over the place. He's so noticeable no matter what line he's on. So that's
I think you could bet. Yeah, I think you could bet either the point or the shots. Personally, I think the shots are minorly safer just because
Yeah.
there are 3 lines of forwards that I think can produce here. So I personally think this is the best bet in this game. Don't think it's particularly close, although it's 1.5 now. Yeah, Zuccarello went from like minus 150 for a 1 to plus 1. Yeah, that took 0 minutes.
Yeah.
Anything on the Arizona side, I'm going to probably defer to no, but we can at least talk about Barrett Hayton again because bet him every night to score, and
it's a value.
You're making money.
Yeah, I also like Dylan Gunther to start picking it up at some point this year. Once
he second power play he scored on, but I do think that's going to continue to rise, and I really think he'll end up taking over for Nick Ritchie. I don't even think they play the same role, but just to get him out there on that first unit, just they got to do something. What do they have for power play points? 500 for Hayton. Don't tempt me with a good time.
Wow. What was, I mean, Gunther's on the second unit, so it's probably not worth it, but
it's like the same.
500 too. Yeah. I'd rather go with the guy on power play 1, obviously.
All right. If you say Barrett Hayton's name, I'm betting it. Like anyone says Barrett Hayton to me, it's like, all right, it's in my mix. To score, nothing's changed. Oh, I can't add it because I have over 20 things in my slip right now. Darn it. Let's get rid of something. Oh, Colorado continue to go up. Flames went down. Screw this Flames game. I don't need it. Flames game's no fun. Okay. All right, moving on. The Sabres. They get to hurt us again. Plus money Sabres. We do love to see it.
Sabres line changes Peterka and Quinn back in the lineup. Krebs is out. Yep.
Did you get that in there?
It's significant because they go right in on that second line with Cousins.
Oh wow. This really likes the Predators though. Is it Saros in net? I got to assume, almost definitely.
It should be Saros because they saved them. Essentially, they played Askarov last game.
Yeah, I probably defer to a shot on goal prop for the Sabres pretty easily here. Just the way that this game kind of profiles to go, it would lead me to think the Sabres are going to get a lot of opportunity to shoot. Nashville is abysmal defensively. The Sabres are, again, like I think this is kind of one of the situations where my head and my heart are like, the Sabres are going to turn this around. And then I look at the map and I'm like, they might. We pull this up. Like I said, the reason it's liking the Sabres a bit to shoot and have more goals is just on the Nashville being terrible defensively side of things. But if Saros is in net, it does suck. This game for the over actually is really liked by the 10 game.
Pick who you want on the Sabres side. I like the over on their goals. You know their main suspects.
Yeah,
the usual suspects. The over on shots on goal is big.
I think the shots is just the easiest way to go, and you can go any way you want here. I mean, pulling up recent 5 games where I don't know if Cage has hit in any of them, but he has been shooting a lot. So the price, I think we're getting about the same as we did in much worse matchups. So I'm still in on him. I could be convinced of really any of the 3, but personally, I think the minus 140 over 4 for Tage is the best bet here. I think people are going to continue to hammer Nino. I get it. I don't think I'm going to do it. If you want to, Yossi got priced down a lot, actually. I don't know. Tuck for a point, too. It's probably fine. Those are probably the main 2 that you could get me in on. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, for I expect a lot of shots on goal in this game. So if you want to go over potentially on the goalies, I don't think, do we have any listed right now? Just Luke and
no. Yeah, really. This is honestly
at 29.5.
This is the perfect spot to say if it's Saros in net, especially, but I don't know if it matters to me all that much.
I'm more interested in the over on Saros's saves today.
Exactly. Over on Saros saves and then over on Tage shots on like if you can get it at 3.5, you're probably in good shape. But if you can't get it over 3.5, realistically, you could probably take Darlene over 2.5. I don't think that's been. It's not fantastic, but
Yeah, it's not great,
you
but
could probably do it
if you want, for sure.
Yeah, we're not really getting a great line on underdog, so I thought we're getting a great line on prize picks either. Okay, I'm gonna keep Tage in there for now, and we can move on. I want to wrap this up. We have 3 games. Oh boy, Tampa at St. Louis. What does Buck Luck say? Priced about correct. A little bit. I hate St. Louis.
Puck Luck says bet St. Louis, but yeah, I can understand why you.
It's going to be a no for me, dog. I don't like this game at all. This game just feels gross.
Yeah, it really does feel gross. You could always do something with with Tampa's top guys, but it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Stammer's back myself. This minus 170 feels very juicy. I mean, he has been shooting again.
The third highest stack I have ranked today is Point and Kucherov. So there's obviously value on the top guys against St. Louis because St. Louis is just giving up a ton right now, and obviously with O'Reilly out,
I don't think I've missed on a Brandon Hagel point prop in my career. I think I've bet it 5 times in the past 2 months, and it hits every time. And like I don't like to bet it every night. But
have they been rotating Cirelli in at all? I know they haven't practiced for the power play, but have they been rotating Cirelli on that top power play at all?
They did last game.
Yeah. And Hagel just comes out completely. It's weird when they do that. I don't understand.
So he scored. I think he already had an assist, but he scored and I saw both. I'm like, oh hell yeah, I hit. I'm like, that's really weird that like Kucherov and Point weren't involved in either of them. And then after the game, I'm like, shit. So Kucherov, Stamkos, Point all being together potentially, which it was last game. I don't know if we got a full practice. Let me double check that.
No, I don't think there was.
At least when I checked. I think the Stamkos over 2.5 is something that I want to take advantage of right now. I know minus 170 isn't my favorite line in the free world, but he is shooting. He's out there with the best guys. Once again, honestly, I don't even hate the idea of the plus 160 on over 1.5 if that line is intact. But also, if you want to get ultra safe, Braden Point, especially if that line is altogether minus 190, isn't terrible. I guarantee he's much closer to the minus 210, 220 range. But to me, I'm just going to bet on the renaissance of Stamkos shooting again. He cooled off. He was like a 3.5 minus 150 at one point. Then he just stopped shooting. It seems to be back again. So I'm going to bet on that while the books are still offering up a 2.5 at still not terrible odds. Nothing interests me on the Blues side of things. None of the shot props. Kyra would be the one if you're going to take one, but doesn't feel fantastic. Players are producing points on this team above expected, like Buchnevich. I know minus 190 might feel halfway decent, but you're just not taking that over Braden Point unless if you have a legitimate, you just hate yourself. If you're, I think that's called being a masochist. That might be the right word of the day. So I'm not going to do it personally. I just, you just don't. Friends don't let friends bet on these Blues players today. In my opinion, if you were going to, it's something through Kyrou because Kyrou is their best offensive producer. Robert Thomas, but no.
You have 14 games to choose from. I would stay away from it.
Yep, perfect.
Way better value.
Edmonton, Vegas. Wow, that's a fun game. I love this game. This is a fun. I want to watch this game. Shots.
Well, tune in at 10 p.m. tonight.
Oh, I'll be up. McDavid is back on his McDavid stuff, and we do love to see that. It is a back-to-back for Edmonton. They won 11-7, and like this indicates, McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman.
Draisaitl's been
red hot. I think we should have this
ton of correlation in those top guys. Ton of correlation yesterday.
If you're drafting on underdog, I'll tell you, you could get McDavid and any of those two, but preferably Draisaitl. I'm just going to pull the last 2 games. I know the past couple games, Draisaitl's been just firing, I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly. Not the bottom. Is he up here, though? McDavid? I don't know. I guess it's just McDavid that's been firing. Because, it's probably just Draisaitl's been so efficient that it just makes me think he's shooting more. I do think McDavid's probably fine. I don't know if it's the best bet in the free world, but it's probably fine. Hyman is also probably fine. He finally missed a couple games, missed one that I needed him in the most. When DJ needed him most, he did vanish. I didn't bet him against San Jose, mainly because the odds very slightly changed, and I just didn't really think I needed to do it. I took McDavid instead. Didn't matter because Pacioretty spoiled it. I think on the Edmonton side, actually, what do you have? Why am I doing this? Why don't I pull up the projection for the game? What do we have here? Because I was actually thinking about Edmonton not being terrible, but
it's almost a coin toss.
Back to back. I kind of forgot about the back to back. Yeah, back to back kind of sucks. Nah, you probably don't need to do it. I think shots, it's still probably McDavid. I know Nurse people have just been like hammering this, and he's just not on the power play. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Player points. Actually, this might be Zach Hyman minus 180. You could throw that in without much of a concern. I got to get rid of things. But yeah, Hyman for a point is probably the best one. McDavid for shots, and then let's talk about Vegas. I'm gonna pass to you for Vegas talk.
Well, they're still keeping those same lines, I believe, that they've been rolling out with. Or is Eichel?
It was Eichel. Yeah. Well, it was Cotter to start, and then
it was Cotter to start. That's why I was like, wait. Okay.
Yeah. That's that flying V here. It was like they got scored on, and they're like, "All right, Paul Cotter, see you later." I don't know if they ran practice because we probably would have got that while we were talking. So let me take a peek.
I do like Cotter when he sticks on that line. I like him as a potential guy to score. Don't love he's not a high volume shooter necessarily. So Eichel's going to be the one shooting on that line regardless. Him and Marchessault, obviously.
Stone is week to week. Do you want to point that out? You may see he got like 4 minutes because he got hurt in the first period. We're probably going to have to wait. I think they're going to keep the top line together. Stephenson, Eichel, Marchessault, once they put that together, was freaking sick. All correlated on the power play, all correlated together. If you're drafting an underdog, I wouldn't really feel the need to get Stephenson in the mix because his rates aren't fantastic. So you're really just praying for efficiency for him to be optimal on a 14-game slate that feels thin. Oh, 13 with underdog, but who cares?
He is efficient, but it's still, it's thin.
Edmonton isn't good defensively, so we don't probably have to worry too much on that. So Eichel, Marchessault, Riley Smith, none of these guys.
Normal Riley Smith shots is always a value for whatever reason. It's always listed at 2.5.
And what's Marchessault for? Marchessault for a point. Marchessault for a point. That seems really good.
Like
Stephenson's minus.
Not that great.
Yeah,
I'd rather go.
Stephenson's minus 200.
I'd rather stay off that. Yeah.
All right, that's fine. We could. I don't need it. Honestly, Hyman's probably the best for a point, and then for shots, it's probably still just McDavid. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this back on one in each game. Caulfield or Lee? What are we thinking? Caulfield or Lee?
Lee probably.
All right, let's keep Lee. We'll do Konechny, Beniers, take out Sprong and Bjorkstrand. We'll bet those later. I just want to get it down to one on each game. Oh crap! Yeah, very hating power play point. We'll be betting that. So best bet in this game. What are you thinking? This game feels pretty priced correctly. Is my problem.
Yeah, that is the issue. Is that it seems priced correctly.
Is the Hyman? I mean, are we just assuming they're going to keep that top line together?
If they keep that together, I mean, I love the correlation. I love a Hyman point today.
Their beat reporters suck before games, but they're normally pretty good about if they practice getting the line. Let me just take a look. If Hyman is with them and confirmed, I would be betting that right now.
The problem was they said the lines yesterday that Dylan Holloway and Derek Ryan.
Yeah, that's what they started with.
McDavid, and it's like, okay, what? Obviously, they were quick to switch out of that. So,
yeah, crap. Yeah, that sucks. That is a tough one. Because I just think that Vegas is good enough defensively that I don't know if I want to be adding these shot props against them. doesn't feel great. I don't really want to add any of the shot props for Vegas either. If I had to, I mean, Eichel's been Eichel. I mean, holy crap! Actually, now I think about it, Eichel had like 47 shots on goal last game. I think he had. I think he had 10. I actually want to check that. It honestly, who does Eichel hate more than McDavid too? I mean, do we just want to ride a bit of a narrative and say that plus money on Eichel is still probably good? Yeah, 10 shots on goal last game. Good Lord. You know what? Minus 130, but do I care? Him and McDavid, I think, yeah, let's do it. I think that I'm just like trying to find the hidden like skeleton key, and it's been Eichel the whole time. Okay.
Yeah. It's always been Eichel.
Last game, I'm going to get out of here. I'm not doing I'll do underdog drafts on my own time. You guys can.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, let's not stick around for that. That's another day. Now when we have a huge 14-game slate.
No. Wow. This is priced a little bit differently than I thought, but not awful. So it's going to still kind of slightly like the Kings.
Yeah, it's going to like the Kings. A mild bet on the Kings.
Wow.
Well, the problem is Mackenzie Blackwood's likely in that. They're on New Jersey's on a road back-to-back. Mackenzie Blackwood's been terrible. They've been just letting up way more, not giving up more defensively, but just letting in way more when it's been Mackenzie Blackwood. So he's clearly – Vanacek's clearly a difference maker on the team.
I think so too. I mean, let me tell you, I drafted a lot of Vanacek in underdog, and when Blackwood started that first game, I was inconsolable for about 5 minutes, and then Blackwood gave up 18 goals, I think, in 4 shots. It was amazing. It didn't even make logical sense. So in this game, number one thing, everyone's probably going to say is that New Jersey's really, really good defensively, should hurt LA's output. I do agree with that statement. It is a back-to-back for New Jersey. It is, a situation where, like, can you look at these prices on these guys for LA that have been producing a lot of offense and say, I don't know if I care because it's a back-to-back. And I think as we are saying, and as most people will probably tell you that have watched LA, this team is a bit better than meets the eye. Byfield in the last game did figure it out with Kempe. The top power play is Kempe, Fiala. Can you look at Fiala or Kempe and say, I can still take these shot props?
I don't like any overs really necessarily. Kempe maybe. Fiala probably not.
So then if we're thinking they only get there on efficiency.
New Jersey just limits way too many shots. Way too many.
So point prop, you're saying. That's probably honestly the correct answer with everything that we've pulled up and looked at. Like leading us to go. It should be a point.
You have to go efficiency here. With LA?
Are you a Kempe believer, the renaissance of Adrian Kempe, who just couldn't get a point to save his life, and now all of a sudden is like, oh yeah, just gotta get the points.
I'm a believer. Minus 108 per the puck luck model. So
minus 135 here. Nothing's really fantastic.
It's not great. Not great odds.
No. I don't think any of this is. It comes down to what?
Maybe if you come back with one of the New Jersey props, because I don't see any value here really.
No. This game is also, again, like it kind of feels like the same thing we just did, where it's like, oh man, let's try to find the perfect player, and just then I'm going to come back and be like, like I don't know, 225 is tough to click on. Brett Heishier. Are we thinking maybe just minus 155 on Brett Heishier? One or the other?
Don't love it.
Don't love it either.
Maybe you go with the third guy on that line, though. I know that he doesn't play top power play, but if you do Palat, there's a little bit of value from even strength. But you're relying solely on even strength. Another thing is Dawson Mercer. Yeah, Dawson Mercer's tough in his role too, where he's slotting in.
He's just not with Hughes.
I know, but that lines look good, and still his efficiency is very, very good.
Yeah, wow. Funny beat to the last game, and I'm like, all right, I'm done. Whatever, let's get out of here. And it's like, oh, actually, there's nothing good in this last game. Executive decision.
You could always go shots too with New Jersey. If you're looking at maybe Dougie Hamilton or
I think Brad's priced pretty well. That's like I think like I don't know. I default to Brad. I feel like way too much though. Just because you look at the full picture on Brad, like the full season, and you look game by game, and it's like 6, 1, 2, 8. Like, what's going on with this guy?
Yeah, he is kind of all over the place with those.
Yeah, 4 attempts per game in the last 5. That sucks. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna put Kempe in for now, and I'm gonna move on with my life, and I'm not gonna bet Kempe in my first mix. We're good enough. We've covered this game enough. There's a lot of things here. There's 2 teams that spread out the players throughout their lineup, so it's really hard to pinpoint one. But I think we both are saying like New Jersey should have more shots.
Yes.
LA gets there on efficiency.
Yep.
It's just really hard to pinpoint one prop that feels priced better than the assumption, or at least the implied odds from Vegas. Okay, we've given you a million props, a million things. Last thing that we kind of mentioned, there is a pretty big DFS slate today. So why don't we just really quickly find out, Matt? Wait. Lineup? The other one? What am I looking for?
I don't know. What are you looking for?
I think top stacks.
Oh, go to correlation.
Something wants to load. Okay. I want the line matchups. And player correlation. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much the obvious guys that you see correlated with each other. It's tough to know with Columbus if they do that Jenner in between Gaudreau and Laine, then maybe that's a sneaky one that you'll find later in underdog just to come back with or something. But it's the heavy hitters. I try and
executive decision. It's overstack Colorado.
Yes,
that's my number one.
Yeah, that probably is the number one play today. Overstack Colorado.
I think
overstack but at the Colorado. At the same time, you have like the Sabres and the Oilers and teams where they are. I mean, it's obvious who the guys are, right? So that you would stack. So those are the kind of ones that I turn to. And Tampa Bay, we should include the Lightning in that because if they have those top 3,
the big 3, yeah.
I
think those 2 are. Those are building blocks for sure. Okay, let's get out of here.
If you're looking on underdog too with the big 3 and correlate it with Hedman, it does help. So.
Okay, let's get out of here. We went on long enough. Follow. Actually, you know what? We have these things too. Puckluck.com. It's all of the stuff that's up here now. Promo code MSP gets you, I think, 10% off is the final.
10% off your first.
On everything. You can still look at like starting goalies and things and see some of this stuff for free. Give it a check. If you have any questions, DM either of us at the names on here. Let's actually here. I got a better idea. Boom. At PuckluckJ, at DJ_Mitchell94. Any last notes before we close shop?
Nothing. We got a big slate today, so a lot to do. We'll continue to keep you updated. I got to run through from this last hour and a half that we were on. Run through and update that, so I'll be doing that immediately, and then you'll find us in the underdog streets most likely in a little bit. So.
Oh, yeah. I'm just finishing my first underdog slip. Connecting over 2.5, Pedersen over 3, Miko over 3.5, Svechnikov over 3.5, Eichel over 3.5. That's a lot of 3.5s, though. I really want to do 3.5s. I'm going to say yes.
And DJ will post this, of course, on his Twitter. So
yeah, I'm gonna post. That's the first one. Matthews is also for 3.5. I'm gonna double check into that as well. Okay, closing now. Thank you for coming. I need outro music. I need some. Here, I got an idea. Let's try.
You have outro music queued up.
I'm just picking one of their random ones. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. All right.
Ivan.
See ya.
See ya.